My name is Emily, and for the longest time, I thought I had the perfect marriage. John and I met in college, fell in love over late-night study sessions, and shared dreams of building a life together. He was kind, attentive, and always made me feel like I was the center of his world. Little things like surprising me with breakfast in bed or leaving notes in my lunch bag. They weren't grand gestures, but they meant everything to me. We got married 5 years ago, and life seemed like a fairy tale. But fairy tales don't account for family drama, especially when jealousy creeps in from the shadows. John's sister, Sarah, was always a bit of a mystery to me. She was 3 years older than him, and from what John told me, she had a rough go of it. Her marriage to her high school sweetheart, Mike, fell apart 2 years ago. It was messy. Accusations of infidelity on both sides, endless court battles over custody of their 2 kids, and Sarah ending up alone in a small apartment while Mike moved on with someone new. John was devastated for her. He adored his sister and did everything he could to support her. He'd send money when she was short, help with the kids on weekends, and even let her stay with us for a month after the divorce was finalized. At first, I didn't mind. I felt sorry for Sarah too. She seemed broken, like the light had gone out in her eyes. I'd cook her favorite meals, listen to her vent about Mike's betrayal, and try to be the supportive sister-in-law. But as time went on, I started noticing little things. The way she'd watch John and me interact, with this odd mix of longing and resentment. If John hugged me or complimented my cooking, her smile would tighten just a fraction. I'd catch her staring at us during family dinners, her fork hovering midair, like she was dissecting our happiness. One evening, about 6 months after her divorce, Sarah came over for dinner. The kids were with Mike that weekend, so it was just the 3 of us. John had made his famous lasagna, and we were laughing about old family stories. Sarah was quieter than usual, nursing a glass of wine. Then, out of nowhere, she said, "You two are so lucky. Mike never treated me like that. He was always too busy with work or his friends. I guess some people just get all the good ones." John reached over and squeezed her hand. "You'll find someone better, sis. You deserve it." She nodded, but her eyes flicked to me, and there was something sharp in them. "Yeah, maybe." "Emily, how do you do it? Keep him so wrapped around your finger." I laughed it off, thinking it was just her pain talking. "It's not like that. We just communicate a lot." But that night, after she left, John seemed preoccupied. "Sarah's really struggling," he said as we cleaned up. "I think we should invite her over more often. She needs family right now." I agreed, because why wouldn't I? Family was important to John, and by extension, to me. Little did I know, that was the beginning of the cracks. Over the next few months, Sarah became a fixture in our lives. She'd drop by unannounced, sometimes with the kids, sometimes alone. John didn't mind. He said it was good for her to have a stable place to come to. But I started feeling the shift. She'd make subtle comments about her life, how nice our house was, how John spoiled me with gifts, how we could afford vacations while she scraped by. "Must be nice," she'd say with a sigh, "not having to worry about money or a husband who puts you first." At first, I brushed it off as bitterness from her failed marriage. But then the jealousy turned into something more calculated. One day, I came home from work early and found Sarah in our living room, talking to John. They didn't hear me come in. She was crying, saying, "I just don't know how to move on. Seeing you two, it's hard. Emily's so perfect, and you're so good to her. Mike never was." John comforted her, like always. "You're strong, Sarah. You'll get through this." But then she said something that made my blood run cold. "Sometimes I wonder if it's all real, though. I mean, no one's that perfect. Maybe she's got secrets too, like Mike did." John laughed it off. "Emily? Nah, she's straightforward. What you see is what you get." Sarah wiped her tears. "You're right. I'm just projecting my own mess. Forget I said anything." I stepped back outside and re-entered louder, pretending I hadn't heard. But that comment stuck with me. Why would she imply I had secrets? It felt like the first seed of doubt she was planting. As weeks turned into months, those seeds started to sprout. Sarah began sharing concerns with John when I wasn't around. She'd text him late at night, saying she was worried about me, that I seemed stressed or distant, or that I'd snapped at her over something trivial. John would mention it casually. "Sarah said you were upset the other day. Everything okay?" I'd assure him it was nothing, but I could see the worry in his eyes. Then came the bigger lies. One weekend we had plans for a date night. Sarah called, hysterical, saying she needed help with the kids because Mike bailed. John canceled our plans to go over there. When he got back, he was quiet. "Sarah mentioned you didn't want her around as much," he said. "Is that true?" I was stunned. "What? No, I never said that." He nodded, but there was hesitation. She must have misunderstood. But the misunderstandings kept piling up. Sarah would accidentally leave her phone at our house with messages open, showing conversations where she vented about me being controlling or jealous of her bond with John. I'd confront her gently, and she'd apologize profusely. "I'm so sorry, Emily. I'm just going through a lot. I didn't mean it." John, ever the peacemaker, would side with her. "She's hurting, babe. Cut her some slack." I tried, God, I tried, but the jealousy was poisoning everything. Sarah had lost her marriage, and now she seemed determined to drag mine down with her. And the worst part, my husband was starting to believe her whispers over my words. One night, after another canceled plan because of Sarah's emergency, John and I argued. "Why do you always take her side?" I asked, tears in my eyes. "Because she's family," he replied, "and she's been through hell." I thought you understood that. I did understand, but what I didn't understand was why he couldn't see how she was manipulating him, turning him against me bit by bit. That night, as I lay awake, I realized I had to do something. If I didn't, I'd lose everything.
Like our stories? Subscribe and share to follow for more.
The next morning, I woke up with a resolve I hadn't felt in months. John was already up, making coffee, humming to himself like nothing was wrong. I watched him from the doorway, my heart aching. This man who had once been my rock was slipping away, pulled by invisible strings his sister was weaving. I couldn't let it continue. "John," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "we need to talk about Sarah." He turned, mug in hand, his smile fading. "What about her?" "She's inserting herself into our lives too much. The constant emergencies, the comments, the way she's always here, it's affecting us." He set the mug down, crossing his arms. "Emily, she's my sister. She's going through a divorce. What do you want me to do, abandon her?" "No, of course not. But there are boundaries. Last night was our date night, our first in weeks, and you dropped everything for her again. It was an emergency. The kids were sick. Was it, or was it another way to pull you away?" "John, open your eyes. She's jealous. She sees how happy we are and can't stand it." He laughed, but it was bitter. "Jealous? That's ridiculous. Sarah's happy for us. She told me herself." "Did she? Or did she tell you I'm the one who's jealous, that I'm controlling?" He paused, and that hesitation said everything. "She might have mentioned something like that, but she's just worried about you stressing out." I felt a surge of anger. "Worried? She's planting doubts in your head, telling you lies about me." "Emily, calm down. You're overreacting." Those words stung like a slap. Overreacting. That's what Sarah had been saying about me for weeks. I could see her influence in his eyes, the way he looked at me now, not with love, but with doubt. That afternoon, Sarah texted John again. I saw the message pop up on his phone while he was in the shower. "Need to talk. Emily's been acting weird. Come over?" My blood boiled. I grabbed my keys and drove to her apartment myself. It was time to confront her directly. She opened the door, surprised, but not entirely. "Emily, what are you doing here? We need to talk," I said, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. Her place was a mess, toys scattered, dishes piled up. The kids were napping in the other room. "About what?" she asked, her voice sweet, but her eyes guarded. "About you trying to ruin my marriage." She blinked, then laughed softly. "Ruin your marriage? Emily, that's paranoid. I'm just leaning on my brother. He's all I have left after Mike." "Leaning? You're manipulating him, telling him lies about me being distant, controlling, having secrets. Why? Because you lost your husband and can't bear to see John treat me the way Mike never treated you?" Her face hardened, the mask slipping. "You think you're so perfect, don't you? Waltzing into our family, getting everything handed to you. John worships the ground you walk on. Mike never did that for me. He cheated, lied, left me with nothing. And now, seeing you two, it hurts. So you decide to break us up? Make John doubt me? I didn't mean to, at first. But yes, I'm jealous. Why do you get the fairy tale while I'm scraping by? It's not fair." "Fair? Life isn't fair, Sarah, but destroying my life won't fix yours." She wiped at her eyes, but I could see the calculation there. "John will never believe you over me. He's my brother. Blood is thicker." I left her apartment shaking, but determined. When John got home that evening, I told him everything. The overheard conversations, the texts, the confrontation. He listened, but his face was a storm. "You went to her place without telling me? Accused her of manipulating me?" "John, she's admitting it. She's jealous. Or maybe you're the one who's jealous. Sarah called me crying after you left. Said you yelled at her, threatened her." My mouth dropped open. "What? That's a lie." "Is it? Lately you've been so on edge about her. Maybe she's right. You're stressed, imagining things. We argued late into the night, voices rising until the neighbors probably heard. John slept on the couch, and I cried myself to sleep. The next day, things were tense, polite but cold. Sarah kept texting him, and he kept responding. I felt like a stranger in my own home. A week later, it escalated. We were supposed to go to a friend's wedding, but Sarah had another crisis. Her car broke down, and she needed a ride to pick up the kids. John insisted on helping, saying we'd meet at the wedding later, but he didn't show up. Hours passed, and when I called, he said Sarah was having a breakdown, talking about how lonely she was, how she envied our life. John, this is our friend's wedding. You're choosing her over me again? I'm not choosing. She needs me, and I don't... He sighed. Emily, please. Just this once. But it wasn't just once. It was every time. That night, I packed a bag and went to stay with my sister. John called, confused, hurt. What's going on? Why are you leaving? Because I can't compete with Sarah, and you won't see what she's doing. We didn't speak for days. Sarah, of course, filled the void, probably telling him how I'd abandoned him, how I was the problem. I knew if I didn't fight back, she'd win. But how do you fight family? It hit rock bottom when John showed up at my sister's place a week later. Emily, we need to talk. Sarah said some things about you maybe seeing someone else. My heart shattered. Seeing someone? That's a complete lie. Is it? You've been distant, leaving suddenly. She saw messages on your phone or something. No, she's making it up to turn you against me. He looked torn, rubbing his temples. I don't know what to believe anymore. In that moment, I saw the damage. Sarah's jealousy had poisoned him, and he was helping her by believing every word. I had to prove it or lose him forever. Little did I know, the worst was yet to come.
Like our stories? Subscribe and share to follow for more.
I sat across from John in my sister's living room, his face a mix of confusion and frustration. The accusation hung in the air like smoke, Sarah claiming I'd been seeing someone else, that she'd seen suspicious messages on my phone. It was the final straw, the boldest lie yet. My hands trembled as I pulled out my phone. John, think about it. When would she have seen my phone? She's making this up. She's been twisting everything to make me look bad. He shifted uncomfortably. Sarah wouldn't lie about something like that. She's family. Family can lie, especially when jealousy blinds them. I took a deep breath. Let me prove it. Come with me to her place. We'll talk to her together and you'll see. He hesitated, but something in my eyes must have swayed him. Fine, but if this is just paranoia? We drove in silence, the tension thick enough to cut. When we arrived at Sarah's apartment, she opened the door with her usual feigned surprise. John? Emily? What's going on? John glanced at me, then back at her. Sis, Emily says you've been spreading lies about her cheating or something. That can't be true, right? Sarah's eyes widened, tears welling up instantly. What? I'd never. Emily, why would you say that? I'm just worried about you two. I stepped forward, holding up my phone where I'd started recording discreetly. Because it's true, Sarah. You admitted it to me. Your jealousy, wanting what we have. And now this? Fake cheating accusations? She faltered, glancing at John. That's not... I was upset. I didn't mean... John's face hardened. Wait, you admitted being jealous? When? Sarah stammered. It was nothing, just venting. But Emily's been so cold, distant. I thought maybe there was someone else. No, I interjected. You've been the one creating distance. Texting John constantly, making up emergencies, bad-mouthing me. Why? Because your marriage failed and you can't stand seeing ours succeed. The room went quiet. John turned to her. Sarah, is this true? Have you been lying to me? She broke then, sobs shaking her shoulders. Okay, fine. Yes, I'm jealous. Every time I see you treat her like a queen, it reminds me of what Mike never gave me. I didn't mean to hurt you, John. I just wanted you to see she's not perfect. Maybe then you'd spend more time with me, like before. John's expression shifted from shock to betrayal. You manipulated me? Made me doubt my wife? Sarah, that's not support. That's destruction. She reached for him. Please, brother. I was hurting. Forgive me. He stepped back. I love you, sis. But this crosses a line. We need space, real space. We left her there, crying, and drove home in stunned silence. That night, John held me for the first time in weeks. I'm so sorry, Emily. I should have seen it. I let her pain blind me to yours. Tears streamed down my face. I get it. She's family. But we have to set boundaries. No more unannounced visits. No more emergencies every other day. He nodded. Agreed. and therapy for her, maybe for us too, to rebuild trust. Over the next few months, things changed. Sarah got help, started dating again, and slowly mended her life without dragging ours down. John and I grew stronger, our communication deeper. We even took that vacation we'd postponed, just the two of us, rediscovering the love that started it all. In the end, Sarah's jealousy nearly broke us, but it also taught us a hard lesson. Family is important, but so is protecting your marriage. Blind loyalty can be as dangerous as betrayal. And me, I learned to stand up sooner, to fight for what matters. Because sometimes, the real threat isn't from outside, it's from those closest to you.
Like our stories? Subscribe and share to follow for more.